Spoiler alert, this video might contain some chocolate box images. It's very early in the morning, it's about 5 o'clock, I'm still half asleep, and now I need to load some Velvia. Well, I think I've got everything this morning, haven't forgotten things, which is good. I could do with another hour's sleep, but there you go. So let's get this loaded and then we can head down to the viewpoint for chocolate box image number 1. I'm at a place called Salcombe this morning. Well, I'm across the other side of the estuary from Salcombe. It's a small seaside town. Well, it's not seaside, but yeah, I guess it is seaside. In South Devon, it's about 15 miles from where I live. Just checking out some final compositions before I get my camera set up. I'm down here with the 6x17 film camera again this morning. I said this was going to be chocolate box. Well, you can't get much more chocolate box than this really. It's a really scenic little coastal town. I'm here at dawn, it's very early, waiting for the sun to come up. I've got a while yet before it pops over. It's going to come up over my shoulder, and as it starts to rise above the headland behind me, it starts to light the buildings up on the other side of the town, and the sun slowly works its way down, so the foreground stays in shadow. I scouted this location the other day while we were out for a dog walk, just to double check, one, that there were boats here, because during the winter months all the boats disappear, so there's just enough boats here on the water, and also to check, I checked tide times and sunrise times, weather forecast, all that sort of thing. I don't just turn up to these places. I plan this with military precision sometimes. So yeah, it's a great morning. It's really still as well, which is good. And I'm shooting Velvia, so I've got 2 rolls of Velvia and I've got 2 compositions. I've got this one here, which is my main composition, and I've got another one just over the other side of the headland with some rapeseed fields looking across, very sort of landscapey, nice, hopefully sort of blue and yellow, blue sky, yellow fields, nice rolling landscape. So that's the plan this morning. So I'm going to get my gear set up and again wait for the light, which I seem to do a lot of, but yeah, should be good this morning. So with this composition, I'm going to have a very thin slither of this grassy bank and this tree in the foreground at the bottom. I need to position myself so, if you notice the boats to the right and left of this tree, I need to make sure that I get the separation between those and the tree, ideally. It's going to be quite a long exposure, but the water's still, there's no wind this morning, so it should be fine. I've just noticed there's sheep poo everywhere, and I'll just put my bag right down in a big dollop of it, which is nice. It's a good start. So let's get this lens opened up, see what we've got. Always open the lens up. This is an f8 lens. Can be a bit dark sometimes, but it's not too bad. Let's get my ground glass screen on. Yeah, that's nice. So basically, I can pretty much see a rough idea of the composition through this, so I can get it pretty much as I want. and then fine tune it under the dark cloth then. Yeah, it should be pretty nice this morning. I've got a reversible dark cloth. You've probably noticed in my previous videos that I tend to use it with the other way in, so silver side on the inside, but sometimes with the dark side underneath, it gives you a much better view if it's bright. And I know that in a minute the sun's going to start popping up behind me, and it's going to be banging against the back of the camera if I'm not careful. So using the darker side sometimes, especially in bright sunlight, it gives you a better view of the ground glass. Like I say, it is quite dark sometimes with this f8 lens, but it's bright enough. It looks okay. I'll get my levels sorted out in a minute, but I've pretty much got what I want there. Yeah, that's looking nice. So I don't need to stop down too much this morning because my foreground is, I don't know, 50 metres away. So I think f22 should suffice this morning, which is good. I don't want a majorly long exposure because obviously with the boats on the water, it's going to create movement. Even though there's no wind this morning, obviously the natural bobbing of the boats, it does cause problems if you've got too long an exposure. You just get blurry boats. So f22 is the order of the day. Got my composition set up. Just do a last. Film's already loaded. Velvia this morning. ISO 50. Well, look at that. Bang on. It's already level. That's good. So I'm going to leave the film back off for a minute, just until the light starts popping up. And I'll start taking some meter readings, get my exposure settings all dialed in, and then I can just take my time then. Wait for that opportune moment. There's some nice clear sky above the town now. A little bit of cloud off to the left, which is good. That'll catch some of the light. And it's looking pretty clear behind me. So, what time is it now? 6 o'clock, just gone 6 o'clock. So another 10 minutes, I think. And we should start getting some light. I'm going to use a polarizer this morning, and also a 0.6 soft grad just over the sky, because like I said, once the light pops up, even though there's no direct sunlight ahead of me, it's still quite bright in the sky. But other than that, so obviously with the polarizer I need to add in a couple of stops there to allow for that, and the grad will just hold that sky in a little bit more as well then. Right, we're all set and ready to go. The light is just starting to touch some of the windows up in the buildings on the top of the hill over there. But I want to wait until I get some nice golden light coming down across at least about a quarter of the way down the building before I start shooting. The boat's just gone through and created loads of little ripples across the water, but I'm assuming, I haven't done a meter reading yet, but it's going to be at least around a 1 second exposure, if not longer, I would have thought this morning. So that's enough to blur out any movement in the water, keep it nice and clear and calm. And it should, what I'm hoping for is it should give me some reflections in the water as well, where the town's reflected at the base of the water there, and I think I've got enough separation between the tree and the reflection if it happens in the water. So I just got to wait now. Well, I've shot here quite a few times over the years. I've never shot in 6x17, but I've done stitched panoramics here, but where's the fun in that? It's a bit soulless doing that. I tend to find you get problems with stitched panoramics, especially when there's movement with boats and things like that and water, where the panoramics join. Sometimes you can get a problem with the stitching software. So yeah, shooting with this camera, it's been a long time coming. I must give a shout out to a friend of mine. He's a local guy that I've known him for years, Richard Downer Photography. I'll put a link if I can in for his Instagram. But he's shot here a few times in the past with a panoramic camera, and that's kind of inspired me to come here with this. So the light is just starting to get a little bit better now. Just taking my meter reading. I'm getting a half a second out of 22. So with the polarizer, that brings me down to 2 seconds. So I'm going to shoot the first one at 2 seconds. I'm just waiting for... The light's disappeared again now, but there was a lovely glow on the water. So just wait for that to come back. Shoot this first frame, then I might wait another 10 minutes or so, just for it to lighten up a bit more. Oh, it's looking nice now. On a 1 second exposure now for the second frame. Beautiful. The light's changed quite a bit now, so I've re-metered. And I'm around a half a second now. It's beautiful. It's looking really nice this morning. Right, my last frame. In between each frame here, try and keep the film nice and tight, so I get it where I want it. Frame 11. Nice and tight. Light's dropped a little bit more, but it's still looking nice. So, last exposure on this roll. Beautiful. Wow, that was nice. Fleeting eventually. So I'll put this one up now, see what you think. Right, that's the first location done. Beautiful. It's getting a little bit contrast yet then. There's a white building on the corner which is catching the light now, which looks a bit too bright, so I think I caught that just at the right time. So I'm going to pack this stuff up and then onto my second viewpoint. So that first shot was the critical one this morning. Got the timing right, too bright, and the buildings kind of overblow exposure wise. Too little light and it just looks a bit flat, so I think I've caught that right. So I'm over to my next viewpoint now, which is just over my other shoulder. And you can see yellow fields, blue sky. Look at it, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous light this morning. So I'm going to head back over there now and set up. Like I said, I scouted this location the other day on a dog walk, All I had with me was my phone and my Viewfinder app, which I use all the time. Really handy. Take a couple of sort of record shots so I know when I come back where to stand. It just helps when the light's good like this. There's no messing about, just get there, set up, and you're ready to go. So yeah, let's get over there. So I'm here at my second viewpoint. This is, I was hoping for a little bit of white cloud up above the tree line in the distance there, but it's not to be. It's clear blue sky. There's clouds over there, but would be facing right into the sun that way, so that's not much good. So it's going to be full of this yellow field with the blue sky above. The Velvia will, it really sort of boosts the colours up. They'll kind of jump off the screen and smack you in the face. So it's made for Velvia, this shot. So I'm going to include quite a bit of the foreground and the sweep of the field, and then up to the hill in the distance there with this tree line. There's some white buildings in behind the tree line, which is Salcombe Town. I'm hoping they don't sort of cause a problem exposure wise. I'm going to take a couple of spot readings off the buildings just to make sure they're not going to blow out completely. In terms of filtration, I probably won't use a polarizer because it's got a tendency to, especially on this format, to over polarize. And what you get is this big blob of polarization in the center of the frame, and then on either side it's not polarized with such a wide lens. So I think in terms of filters, it's just unfiltered shot basically. I don't really need, because the sun's off to the left hand side of me, so it's pretty straightforward. Right, let's get the ground glass on and see what we've got. I've just levelled it up, so we should be good to go. Just a few tweaks. So I'm going to take these filters off. So I've taken my meter reading. It's given me a 15th of a second at f/22. So I've obviously got an added stop onto that, so that brings me to an 1/8 of a second. This is ISO 50 film. With Velvia, I've always found in the past, I've used it for years and years, and I've always slightly underexposed it. Brings out more of the contrast and the colours. And this is quite a bright scene as well, so I think I might err on the underexposed side of this, because obviously you've got the brightness of this. So that'll be my starting point. So I'm going to start at an 1/8 of a second. And then I'll probably go up to 15th of a second. I'm going to bracket these just in case. 30th of a second, which is probably as far as I'll push it. And then I might do one at 1/4 of a second as well, just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to shield the lens as well while I take this, just to stop any lens flare. Nice short exposure. Right, 15th of a second. So many things to think about when you're shooting this way, which I kind of like. But it does frazzle your brain. Basically, you're thinking about the lens has got to be closed before you expose the film with the dark slide. You've got to make sure the dark slide's up when you trip the shutter, otherwise it's a waste of time. With this camera, you've got to wind on, and you've got to remember the number sequence, which is 2, 5, 8 and 11. Some panoramic cameras, they start at 3, frame 3. You've got to remember that you've put he says as he checks, make sure you've got the aperture set, shutter speed set, and all kinds of things. All good fun. Right, final frame. job done. So let's get this one up and see what it looks like. Well, it's been a glorious morning. It's been lovely. This weather's absolutely gorgeous. It's nice and warm now. Sun's out. Brilliant, brilliant shoot this morning. It was well worth getting up at 4:30, believe it or not. So I'm going to pack up now and get back and have some breakfast because I'm starving. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this one. And like I say, please let me know what you think. My favourite is probably the chocolate box shot. I know it's a bit cliche, but it's one of those shots that I had to do, especially in this format. So I'm going to pack up now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you can join me on the next one.